Hey guys, it's Mike here, and welcome to another edition of Dragon Ball Super Reviews, which I'm going to be reviewing Dragon Ball Super Episode 37, and then giving my predictions for what's going to happen in the next coming episode. Well, a lot of stuff happened in this episode, so without further ado, let's get right into this review. So this episode pretty much started off where the last episode left off, in which Cabba was stepping forward after Vegeta beat Vegeta in order for their fight to begin. But before that fight could begin, Vados and Whis were fixing up the ring and improving upon certain aspects due to the damage that Vegeta and Vegeta caused during their fight. At this point, we actually saw kind of a funny scene in which Vegeta is getting his sweat actually wiped off his face by Bulma, and Trunks is cheering him on. And then at this point, we even see that Goku's family is over, enjoying their food and having a fun time, which of course pisses off Champa. And Champa tells everyone to shut up and stop making so much noise, then rushes over to Beerus, and they begin to have an argument about whether or not the arena is either too hot or too cold. And they even fly up far above the arena and hit into the top of the barrier, cracking it during their argument. But as they look down, they see something different, as Vados and Whis have actually significantly increased the size of the ring in order to make ring outs harder and to make the fights more enjoyable. But after this, we finally get into the next coming fight as Vegeta and Cabba step into the ring and face off with one another. It's kind of funny again to see just how short Cabba is, and I always thought it was kind of funny that a lot of people are comparing him to Gohan, when really he seems a lot more like Tarble when you actually take a look at him, aside from, maybe the hair being a little bit different. But during this point in time, we see Goku and Piccolo, as Piccolo is asking Goku if he thinks that Cabba can turn into a Super Saiyan, but Goku ignores this and looks straight at Hit. And you can actually see his fist tensing up, and it appears that he's anticipating their coming fight because he knows that Hit is really the true adversary and the truest obstacle in this tournament. But with that, the bell is rung, Cabba turns into a stance that's very similar, if not equal, to what Vegeta did during his fight against Goku during their original fight in the Saiyan Saga, and comes rushing at Vegeta. But Vegeta is actually taken off guard by how fast and how strong Cabba is, and he hits him and blocks one of his techniques, and Cabba is actually pushing Vegeta back with a flurry of punches until he eventually gets in a good strike on Vegeta's midsection. But then, of course, Vegeta starts to mount a comeback and is able to kick Cabba away. That is until Cabba gets into a very familiar stance, as we can see that it seems that Cabba is charging up the Gallic Gun, which naturally is Vegeta's attack, and the attack he just used in the previous fight against Vegeta. And Cabba actually fires this blast at Vegeta, but Vegeta, quickly thinking, gets his own blast out and challenges Cabba's as they cancel one another's out. Vegeta quickly tells Cabba to turn into a Super Saiyan so that they can continue this fight at a higher level, but Cabba says that he doesn't even know what a Super Saiyan is, aside from what he just saw from Goku and Vegeta doing their fights, and actually bows to Vegeta and asks him to teach him how to turn into one. This enrages Vegeta as he yells at Cabba saying, "You call yourself a Saiyan," and then transforms into a Super Saiyan, and after this he proceeds to beat the crap out of Cabba. He hits him straight in the gut and then starts to hit him from behind with a flurry of punches before he starts to kick him into the air over and over again, seemingly in an effort to try and make him turn into a Super Saiyan on his own. But none of this seems to work, so Vegeta eventually grabs him and catches him by the scruff of his shirt, at which point Vegeta starts to threaten him by holding a blast up to his face and saying that after this he's going to destroy planet Sadal, which is Cabba's home planet. But Cabba knocks the blast away from Vegeta and starts to glow with a golden aura, telling him to leave his home planet out of this, at which point he transforms into a Super Saiyan in a rage. And then quickly, with the rage and with his newfound power, Cabba rushes at Vegeta and punches him, and hits him really hard, sending him back and then getting again into a flurry of punches, sending Vegeta reeling backwards. At which point, Cabba has the advantage over Vegeta, but Vegeta uses his fighting techniques to sweep Cabba's legs, but this doesn't work as Cabba actually counters with another kick of his own, sending Vegeta into the air, at which point he hits him down with a double-handed axe handle into the ring. And then at this point, Cabba starts to fire down at Vegeta with a flurry of blasts. And strangely enough, during this exchange, Vegeta starts to smile before he knocks all of the blasts away, setting them exploding against the barrier. But the fight wasn't over yet, as Cabba comes down and rushes towards Vegeta with a punch, but Vegeta stands there completely still, allowing Cabba to hit him in the face, which strangely does nothing at all. And I don't know if exactly this is because Cabba basically ran out of his rage that he had during the Super Saiyan transformation or not, but Cabba reverts back into a normal Saiyan after this happens. Vegeta then explains that the rage that Cabba felt within himself during that moment that he turned into a Super Saiyan is the key for him to turn into one once again, and he instructs him to do so once again, which he does. But after this, we get to the climax of our fight as Vegeta takes it one step further, transforming into a Super Saiyan God Super Saiyan, or now, as they seem to have officially stated, is now going to be called the Super Saiyan Blue, as Vegeta says it and then Cabba says it in response. It's interesting, during this transformation, we get a little quick scene in which we see Hit actually open his eyes and look down at Vegeta as a Super Saiyan Blue, and then he looks up to see Goku, and Goku is staring at him smiling, before Hit goes back and closes his eyes, and I thought this was a cool little scene and one of my favorite little moments of this episode, showcasing that not only does Goku know that Hit is going to become alerted by this, but also that Hit knows that Goku is watching him, and Goku knows too. It's a cool little psychological moment that only a good director would be able to convey to us, and so far it seems like we've been getting some good direction in these past episodes. But after this, Vegeta tells Cabba that he believes that one day Cabba may be able to turn into a Super Saiyan Blue as well, and proceeds to one-shot him, hitting him in the stomach and knocking him out with one shot, where he falls face first onto the ring. And then Vegeta is of course by the referee declared the victor of this fight. After this, Vegeta wakes Cabba up by splashing water on his face. And then Vegeta kneels down and explains to Cabba that he believes that because he bowed down during their fight, that he basically gave up the fight at that point in time, and that he should always remember his pride as a Saiyan. He then tells Cabba to surpass him, which is a really interesting scene that kind of reminds me of Goku and Vegeta, and maybe Vegeta is turning himself into the Goku in this situation and making Cabba his own Vegeta, and telling him to eventually surpass him, either for a greater challenge or just because he believes that's the nature of things, and as Cabba is a Saiyan, he believes that's what Cabba should do. And as Vegeta is walking away after their fight is over, Cabba tells him that the king of Planet Sadal is also a very prideful man like Vegeta, and Vegeta says one day he would like to meet him. But after this is over, Hit is announced to be the next coming fighter, and he jumps down into the ring to face off with Vegeta. Champa then says that because Hit is their last fighter, they don't have anything to worry about, and then asks Vados what she offered Hit in terms of a treasure, at which point she explains that she offered him the cube, which Champa freaks out about because he believes that it is more of a travel vehicle for the gods themselves. And to finish off the episode, we finally see Hit and Vegeta facing off in what would appear to be the final round of this tournament, as Hit is the last fighter for Team Universe 6. So basically this was Dragon Ball Super episode 37, and overall I thought this was a great episode. I think in some ways it was actually better of an episode than the previous episode. And while the fight between Vegeta and Cabba was shorter in this episode than say the fight between Vegeta and Vegeta, I thought that there was a lot of great character development and emotion in this episode, so in many ways I feel like I would put it over even the previous episode, and so far it continues to show that Dragon Ball Super seems to be getting better and better as a series as it goes along, and leaving us with this sort of cliffhanger of the coming fight between Vegeta and Hit seems like a really great place to leave us off. Makes me incredibly hyped for next week's episode of Dragon Ball Super, which I can't wait for. But speaking of next week's episode of Dragon Ball Super, let's get into my predictions. As we see in the next coming episode of Dragon Ball Super, Hit and Vegeta are going full out as Vegeta transforms into a Super Saiyan Blue, and Hit continues to hit him over and over with this strange technique of his. And as Goku even says in the next episode preview, none of the fighters can see any of the moves that Hit is doing or his technique, and he continues to hit Vegeta over and over with it. Just from the small little preview, it would appear that Vegeta is at a disadvantage against Hit in their fight. So it's going to be kind of interesting to see just how this is going to play out. I for one predict that Vegeta is going to lose, just because of the fact that even if Vegeta was somehow at full power after these several fights that he's been in, which I'm pretty sure he's not, the fact of the matter is that Team Universe 7 has two other fighters after Vegeta in Goku, the returning Goku in this tournament, and Monaka. So I feel like it's probably going to come down to Vegeta losing in this next episode, maybe Goku stepping in to fight Hit, and perhaps him losing as well before it comes down to Hit versus Monaka. I don't know if Hit's going to sweep or not, but we're going to have to wait and see. But in either case, this is going to end up being a really exciting episode to come. Well, my name is Mike, and this has been another edition of Dragon Ball Super Reviews and Predictions. Tell me your own thoughts down below. Did you see this episode? And if you did, do you agree with my opinions or do you disagree? Also, what do you predict is going to happen in the next coming episode? Let me know down below. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. And as I always say, stick around, because there's a lot more to come in the future.
forgot to subscribe!